You lovely, amazing, beautiful, magical, mystical beings. So I am Allure Mystique. For anyone that's new, I know we did have a couple of new subscribers. Thank you very much for subscribing to the page. And I wanted to come in, well, one, because it's been a while since I actually did a video. And I was actually just doing something else on video and it wrapped up. And I was like, oh, I have a few minutes. I actually have a class I have to go into again soon, which is on a different time zone. But I said, let me just come in and actually do a video because it's been a while since I've actually been able to do that for YouTube. So, hey. So I really was saying hello to you guys, but I'm also going to talk as a little follow-up to a couple questions I had from some people from the last video that I posted, which was about the ancestral mothers, a message. But I did actually go into talking a little bit about feminine versus masculine energy, like yin and yang, the primordial and universal. And that kind of sparked some questions for people, specifically when I talked about dark matter and the darkness. And so I wanted to just come in and kind of give you just a little bit about that. So first things first, right? For anyone who wants to ascend, who is truly looking to elevate to a place of sovereignty and divinity, it's going to be essential to deal with the programming of dark versus light. This whole left hand versus right hand path and these different things. Now, I'm not saying you have to make a choice. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just letting you know that at some point you do have to be willing to go in and look at your programming, your thoughts, your triggers, your emotions with that, and then make some choices from there in order to make some decisions for yourself as a divine and sovereign being. Because we've all been programmed, and there is specific messaging out here, as we know, in many different ways regarding light versus dark, right? White versus black, good versus evil, that whole thing. And even when you get into good versus evil without going way down the rabbit hole, there is honestly, that's hard to necessarily subscribe to that because that really is based upon personal judgment. And so I don't usually use words such as good and bad and evil. I tend to just operate from the space of what's in alignment and or not, right? What is self-honoring and what's not, or what's not, dishonoring. So that's the way I more so look at it. Now, of course, we live in a society with other individuals. There's rules and regulations. There's things that we have going on. So there's some things put in place that also helps us to navigate through that space, right? Because you may decide personally, I don't agree with this, but because this is the law or legal, I choose to still abide by it because it's within my best benefits or my highest alignment to be a legal abiding citizen. Whatever, just give an example. But we also know there's some laws, right, that also weren't. There was some, right? Such like slavery was legal at one point, okay? So we know that not everything that's legal is necessarily right. Okay, so with that said, a little bit about, and like I said, I'm going to keep this short. I have a class, the dark versus light, and so a huge thing that has happened specifically is disconnecting those from the darkness, disconnecting you from your power, from actually understanding your creative energy and the God energy or goddess energy that you are, that you hold, and that you have the ability to connect and tap into. And so when you separate things out, and while there are those of us who do resonate more with dark versus light, which even with that though, I say that to say because there's different realms, okay? And so we do actually have some realms that the realm is actually a realm of more darkness, and then we have realms that are realm of lights, okay? And I'll talk a little bit about that, but not much for the purpose of this video. So let's talk about the primordial. So you heard me say, or let me just reiterate, the primordial, how I define what I subscribe to, right? The primordial is the initial spark. It is the source of all things. Everything that will be, that has been, that will ever be is the primordial. Okay, it is that initial source, the initial spark. The primordial is raw, pure, creative energy. It is dark energy. It is feminine energy. And so I do not say that because I, identify as female or feminine. I say that because feminine energy is creative energy. And you can even look into science and get into all that. Okay, I talked about some of this in the last video, so I'm not going to go back. But That is what it is. And it also, to a certain degree, is like an ocean, okay? It's like this primordial ocean. You may have heard people say that before, like this ocean. And so we've heard before, right? As above, so below, as within, so without, those type of things. You want to think about that. We actually are a reflection and mirror the things that are happening in the cosmos and etc. So the primordial really is like a huge womb. And what is the womb? The womb is darkness, okay? And it's fluid. And fluid also represents that subconscious, that dark energy as well. So see how they're all connected. So that would be the primordial. So when you get into the universe and you talk about light energy, what that is, think about that the same as we do the birthing process. That the primordial kind of unfolds to birth and to create, which is where the light comes from, right? And so even when you're going through the birthing process, whether you've had a child or if you study birth or childbirth, we know. So of course, darkness, the child comes out into the light, right? Like there's light here. And so that is what that is. That would be the universe. And so when you think about it in those kind of simplistic terms away, I know that's very short, but that's just the best way to explain that, with primordial being dark and the universe being light. Again, not darkness being evil, but darkness being that's that dark matter. And people have different opinions about this, but from my research and from also what I've connected to with myself individually, light came from the primordial, okay? Again, darkness is the all. It is vast, it is pure, it is infinite. Like I said, it houses and holds everything that we're seeing play out within in the context of the universe and as expressions of the primordial. And so we're all fractals, unique expressions of that initial source energy. And you know, the unique expressions is when we come into like our soul, our spirit, right? Who we are, our own unique lifetimes and things that we're experiencing. But the universe is actually a part of the primordial. The universe is not the all. So when we say the universe, a lot of times we think about it being all encompassing, when the reality of it is the universe is also a part of the primordial. Okay, so and like I said, even science has documented how over 90% of everything is darkness, which means they really cannot say specifically what all it holds, what exactly is there, how many dimensions and realms, because science only looks at the things they can actually kind of that's tangible to a degree. And so when you get into this vastness of darkness, you cannot really measure the same you can light, things that are illuminated within that light essence. And so that's why it stops. And you'll even see debates whether there's 11 dimensions or 12 dimensions or 10 dimensions. Again, that's because they're not able to go beyond that, because when you get into that 13th dimension, my personal opinion with the 13th dimension and from experience as well, because of that dimension being so dark, and you actually cannot measure that darkness the same way they're looking at measuring those other dimensions. Okay. So with that being said, that's important because we all, if you look at it from that way, hold primordial energy, because the primordial and that dark energy represents our creation. It represents, I like to say, your subconscious. It represents your emotions, your intuition. Again, the light and the sun is that illumination. It's the things that you birth out and how that comes forward and comes into this dimension and into this reality. It is more of the action-oriented energy. It is the illumination of things, right? Even when we're planting seeds and we're manifesting, it's all about being in the darkness. That's what that is. The soil that is dark, okay? So think about that as well. And then what happens? It bursts and it creates from the darkness and illuminates and come up into the light. Same thing. So I wanted to just kind of explain that. Now, that's not to say connecting directly and channeling primordial energy and all that. This is not what that's about, okay? I'm not telling you to go out and even work with some energies that would be considered a little bit more darker in nature. Although me personally, yes, because again, I understand that darkness is not bad. Darkness is not evil. Darkness is more so of where you resonate the truest from. So, or like your soul origin or the type of energy that you carry. There are beings who do carry more of a light energy. Again, there is a realm of light, so to speak. There are energies that carry more of a darker, heavy, very primordial energy, because that's where they originate and come from. And so they're going to feel different. A lot of those energies have actually been taught to us to be evil, because most of them represent like freedom and empowerment and a little bit more less structure. Because again, lights being what? Order, structure, action, patterns, logic, those type of things. So the reason I bring this up also is important is when you're looking at manifesting, and why I say if you really are looking at becoming sovereign or divinity or divine, how that's important to you is because if you only look at it from the perspective of the universe, you're going to limit yourself on really reaching that level. Because in order to reach a level of sovereignty and divinity, there's this level of oneness that comes with that, and you cannot be one if you refuse to accept the aspects of self, or accept the things that are considered typically evil or bad, or these different things, or dark, right? And so accepting something does not necessarily always mean you have to embrace it. Two different things. Although that you get to a space where it's not even about that, because it's not about right or wrong. It's just about it is. Everything in some shape, fashion, form that exists, it exists because it does serve some type of purpose and function. And that's not about, and understand when I say that, I'm not talking about the behaviors, okay, of things, because yes, people choose to do things that we may consider right, or are not in alignment with the universe, not in alignment with oneness, are oppressive, are abusive. That is a behavior from an extension of a person. I'm not saying that that is right and you cannot place any personal judgment on that. But what I'm saying though is every single being and thing that exists does hold a vibration and a purpose, and that is serving in the flow of creation and the flow of the universe as well. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. So what I am going to say before I disconnect is when we talk about the primordial, a big aspect that's going to be your subconscious mind and tapping into and going within yourself, because that is the seed of your creation. That is the how you're going to manifest. Because again, the awareness and the conscious part is more so how we bring it to light and to fruition. But you have to be willing and able to go within. Let me give you an example. Let's just say I want to manifest a house. And if outwardly I'm going, hey, I know I have this desire. I want this house. I can visualize what it feels like, or these different things, whatever. And I just don't understand why it's not happening. And a problem with that could be because deep down internally within yourself, there could be something there about lack, financial instability, your foundation, unworthiness, not feeling like you deserve it, all these different things, which in order to really know the vibration that you're emitting requires you to be able to go within. Going within is connecting to the darkness and the subconscious, okay? It is being still. It is exploring those hidden aspects of yourself. That is shadow work. Now, what I do want to say about that, and I have done videos before that talked about utilizing the moon and different elements to assist you in your shadow work. I feel like, because I know this because people tell me this from working with clients, shadow work gets a little bit of a bad rap. Okay. A lot of people fear that because, again, when you start talking about shadow, they get afraid by the darkness. But also because, again, there's this notion, right? And it's true that it can be very challenging. It could be destructive. It could be very hurtful. That is correct. It can be all of those things. But it also can be very freeing, very liberating, very empowering, amazing, beautiful. Not everything that you're going to find within the shadows and within yourself is limiting or negative or related to something that has been harsh or an experience that you feel has triggered you or misaligned you in any way. For example, right? A lot of women and men too have been suppressed sexually, let's just say, for example. And let's just say when you go within yourself, you sit with yourself and you really see, wow, I didn't even know that this suppression was there. I had some of these messages or programs about sex. But really, when I go inside, it's like, wow, I'm this bossed up, sensual, sexual, energy. I enjoy sex. It makes me feel good. I crave sex. Like I manifest through sex. It's juicy. It's pleasurable. It's healing, right? All these kind of things. That's a beautiful thing to actually explore and to connect to within yourself. But you did that within going into your subconscious, going within the shadows, going within the darkness, right? And so those are the type of things that I'm saying as far as it's not always going to, everything that you find is not going to be this but there are some things there, but even those things get you to the yes. That's the whole purpose, is to deprogram those things, and then you make the choices for yourself so that you can have the prosperous, opulent, amazing, beautiful life that is authentic and aligning for you. So I'm going to keep it here. But I wanted to I wanted to really come on and just say hello because I hadn't been able to drop a video in a while. And to just clarify that a little bit. So again, when we start to think about the darkness, just start to challenge. What are the messages that you see pushed all the time? What do you feel about it? Do you get that kind of eerie feeling? Do you get afraid? What comes up when you think about dark, right? Or do you only like the darkness too because you're rebelling against the light? Because rebellion is not freedom. Let's be clear. It can mask it and it can feel like it, but it's not. If you are spending your time in complete rebellion against something, you're still actually being controlled by that thing. So that's very important as well. And then once you figure out how it is you feel about that, truly, then you can make a choice. Where did that come from? Where did that originate from? Is that truly from me? Is that from my being, my essence, my soul? Is this from something that I've been taught, whether it was, consciously, subconsciously programmed, where my parents, society, commercials, TV, and what do I truly feel? And then once you take all that away, it goes, what do I feel about that? And then you may go, the darkness feels warm. It feels inviting. It feels like home. You may say, hey, okay, I still resonate more a little with the light, which is fine. But then you go, but I'm okay with the darkness. I know that it's necessary to be able to be both because I am both. You are darkness, you are light, and you are everything in between. If you want to look at them on different spectrums, which I don't view them that way because I view it as the light came from the dark. But that was what I wanted to say, just to give a little clarity, because I had some questions about what that meant when I was talking about the primordial and darkness and those different things and the light. And so hopefully that clarifies that a little bit for you. I'm going to do an effort to come forward and do more videos again, because I do think there's something to actually visually connecting with you guys. But I wanted to be able to do content, and when I could do the content, if it was because doing video was going to slow me down or doing audio, I chose to go ahead and do audio. So again, if you have any questions, you can always drop a comment. You can reach me on Facebook at Realm of the Mystik, MYSTIK. Also, same thing on Instagram as well, and on Etsy, Enchanted Desires, DEZIRES, which we have a plethora of amazing, beautiful, charged, metaphysical energy products that can assist you on your spiritual path and journey as well. And again, this is Allure Mystique, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.